What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Ruminas worried that Xian could have been killed if the battle continued. No matter how strong Dagruel was, a direct hit from disintegration should be lethal. Yet his aura barrier was so dense it was hard to penetrate. That's why she'd amplified disintegration to encompass him completely. Ruminas disliked hiding and waiting, but to secure victory, she'd had no choice. She had observed the battle, waiting for the perfect moment to act. That patience had now paid off, delivering an ideal outcome.
No hard feelings,
Ruminas remarked confidently, fully expecting victory. If she and Dagruel clashed openly, her chances were slim. Knowing this, she didn't consider it cowardly to take this approach. She planned to win, and win she would. This was her way. She struck Dagruel with everything she had, without needing to reveal all her secrets. It was flawless execution. If this wasn't enough, then there was no other way. That's why.
I suppose you're right. I may have let my guard down, but it doesn't matter. I'm unscathed.
Those words froze Ruminas in place. Her sharp mind processed the impossibility of it all. Dagruel was truly unharmed. This left only one conclusion.
Ruminas, are we done here? I believe it's my turn now.
Indeed, if this attack hadn't brought down Dagruel, Ruminas and her side had no hope of victory.
Be on guard. One slip, and you'll be killed instantly.
Dagruel's declaration marked the beginning of a true nightmare. The duel between Alberto and Glassord had escalated, creating a wide berth around them, as if no one else dared to step into their space. Yet neither of them noticed, lost in the intensity of their clash. Each recognized the other as a worthy rival, reveling in the thrill of combat.
I am truly impressed. To cross swords with someone like you, it's a testament to your skill as a warrior.
Glassord exclaimed.
This power isn't mine alone. It's thanks to the armor bestowed by Lord Rimuru. Without it, I'd have already succumbed to the weight of your attacks.
Alberto responded calmly.
No need to downplay it. Few among the Titans can match me. Being able to handle that armor means you're in the top tier.
Glassord countered. Alberto took the praise without pride or arrogance. He knew his skills drew out the full potential of his mythic armor. His humility showed he wasn't yet satisfied with his abilities, keeping him steady and unshaken by Glassord's words. Glassord was genuinely impressed. In such a high-stakes duel, the first to lose focus would lose the fight. Psychological warfare was as much a part of battle as the clash of swords. Without missing a beat, Glassord shifted his approach.
Then tell me, why do you serve a mere skeleton king?
He asked, probing.
What's your point?
With your strength, there's no need to follow that feeble and dead king. Sure, his necromancy's advanced, but a true warrior's strength lies in his own body.
Glassord's words were designed to rile Alberto, hoping an emotional reaction would lead to a fatal mistake. But Alberto didn't flinch. Though he wasn't pleased to see such tactics from a fellow warrior, his face remained calm and collected.
You misunderstand. Yes, I'm Adalmann-sama's escort and lead the vanguard. But you've forgotten something. Adalmann-sama is one of the 12 Chaos Guardian Lords, recognized by our god. In other words, he's stronger than I am.
Alberto's candid reply struck Glassord, who grunted in response, raising an eyebrow in disbelief. Realizing he couldn't manipulate Alberto, he steadied his greatsword, accepting that his opponent was not one to fall for such tactics.
Then it can't be helped. You're an incredible rival, but this is no game. I have a duty to fulfill, so it's time to get serious.
Glassord had never underestimated Alberto, but he had been holding back a bit to enjoy their exchange. Now, with his usual tricks failing, he had to engage Alberto directly, relying solely on his raw strength. With a clear and focused mind, Glassord committed fully to the fight. He was a seasoned warrior who had cultivated his skills beyond brute power. It wasn't out of weakness but out of choice, dedicating himself to mastery. His true potential lay within his beloved greatsword, now fully unleashed. In an instant, Glassord's existence value surged from under 2 million to a staggering 10 million. Even Alberto was caught off guard by this transformation. I should have gone all out sooner, even if it was a risk, Alberto thought, realizing he'd missed his chance. Yet he knew that acting hastily would have been a grave mistake. If he'd rushed, he'd have lost before witnessing Glassord's true aura. The path forward was clear. He had to meet Glassord's strength directly.
There's no shortage of worthy opponents here,
Alberto declared.
That's my line.
Glassord retorted. The fierce exchange resumed, more intense than ever. Alberto found himself at a disadvantage, weathering Glassord's powerful strikes like a tree bending under a fierce wind. But Alberto's gaze held steady, unwavering in resolve. As their battle raged, the two were oblivious to the world around them, their focus entirely on the clash of their swords. Adalmann seemed to have been knocked out cold when he hit the ground. In the flow of battle, even a brief lapse like this could have been fatal. Realizing how lucky he'd been, Adalmann quickly focused on assessing the situation. Without replaying the exact sequence in his mind, he understood he had been struck by one of Fenn's powerful blows. It was an overwhelming force. Adalmann survived only because the Gehenna dragon, Venti, had shielded him and absorbed much of the impact. Ultima's timely intervention had also saved him from being finished off by Fenn. Even so, Fenn's strength was terrifying. The multiple barriers Adalmann had set up had all been shattered, leaving only one form of defense that managed to withstand the blow. Without it, he would have been critically injured from that single hit.
It feels strange to say my already dead body could suffer a mortal blow. But rather than breaking my magic barriers, it seems like
Adalmann sensed that his defenses had been bypassed rather than broken. Interestingly, the one remaining shield was not a magical barrier but a coating of fighting aura. Without it, Adalmann's usual defenses would have been completely ineffective. Though it seemed like a forced strike, it was more likely that Fenn's attack had simply pierced through everything. If that was the case, the mystery of Fenn's power started to make sense.
I see. I hadn't considered it, but now it's clear. The elite titans must have magic nullification.
This was the conclusion Adalmann arrived at, the same realization that Ultima had reached, and it was indeed the right answer. Adalmann no longer questioned its accuracy. It explained why the extreme magic attacks had minimal effect and why his barriers had been ignored. Whether or not he was mistaken, it no longer mattered. Adalmann's magic reserves were depleted anyway. With his magicules exhausted, the giant's magic nullification was no longer relevant since he could barely cast any spells at all. Despite his injuries, Adalmann rose as though unbothered. Every bone was fractured, and his holy robes were caked with dirt, but he paid no mind to his state. His gaze turned to Fenn, who was now engaged in a fierce clash with Ultima.
As expected of Ultima, she already realizes her magic is ineffective. I'm impressed she's holding her ground despite the huge power difference.
To be precise, they weren't exactly evenly matched. Even a single direct blow could incapacitate Ultima. But her relentless attacks showed a complete disregard for that risk. This courage allowed her to stand up to an opponent whose power dwarfed her own by a factor of 20. Still, it seemed she was nearing her limit. Adalmann couldn't afford to linger in thought. He wasn't panicking because he knew his current state, spent magic, a battered body, left him of little use if he didn't act. With depleted energy and fractured bones, he had to do something soon if he hoped to help.
Venti, are you alright?
Yes, I was caught off guard.
Venti replied softly, shifting into her human form. The transformation would allow her to tap into her ultimate recovery ability, a power she could only use once per day. Changing forms, from dragon to human, or vice versa, would heal even life-threatening injuries. In her human form now, Venti erased the severe damage she had sustained while protecting Adalmann. He was aware of this ability, so he took her transformation in stride as he continued speaking.
Thank you for saving me.
I'm just glad you're okay.
However, we're facing a new problem.
What sort of problem?
It seems magic doesn't affect him. If this keeps up, Ultima may be in real danger.
I understand.
Fenn's sheer energy was overwhelming, making a direct confrontation seem almost foolhardy. For Venti, who had planned to use magic to assist, Adalmann's comments were startling. Yet Adalmann appeared undisturbed, calmly assessing Fenn as if studying him in a lab, an unlikely trait for someone who had once served as a priest.
That giant's strength is immense. Even with magic, defeating him would be a challenge.
Adalmann stated this plainly. Fenn's speed, destructive force, and defenses were all at the highest levels, rivaling even a true dragon's presence. Attacking him head-on with their limited power would end in disaster. Adalmann's magic wasn't enough either. Realizing this, he suggested they change their approach.
Oh dear, I suppose it's time for me to bring out this well-trained body of mine after such a long time.
Huh?
Venti, who both admired and respected Adalmann, was thoroughly taken aback. She questioned if he might have injured his head, or if perhaps he was hallucinating. Maybe he was rambling on in some kind of daze? She glanced at him with suspicion. It was understandable. After all, Adalmann was a literal skeleton, no trace of muscle or flesh. What did he mean by a well-trained body? As though he had read her expression, Adalmann continued in a straightforward manner.
I don't think I ever told you. Although I was a high priest, my main role was actually something else.
Really?
Indeed. In fact, I held the title of Sacred Fist Master, the highest rank for priests who were also warriors.
Is that so?
Having Alberto as an exceptionally skilled guard, Adalmann hadn't needed to engage in close combat, allowing him to take on healing and support roles from the rear. This arrangement was more efficient, but it hadn't meant that Adalmann had let his abilities slip. He was still an active fighter. The fighting aura that had saved him earlier was proof enough.
When we fought before, I didn't think my techniques would be effective against a non-humanoid opponent like you, so I hadn't had the chance to show them.
Oh, I see.
Venti was speechless. Despite knowing him for centuries, this revelation was entirely new. And if he possessed these special skills, why hadn't he used them more often? Even Venti, with her high regard for Adalmann, could think of some instances where his skills would have been useful.
It seems you understand now.
Sort of. But wait, hold on a second.
Is something wrong?
Don't you think there are quite a few issues here?
And what might those be, specifically?
Venti, bewildered by such a question, managed to voice her concern.
Surely, you aren't actually planning to take on that giant bare-handed, are you?
She asked, hoping for him to deny it. She had known Adalmann for ages, yet she'd never once seen him training physically. And as a skeleton, physical conditioning seemed pointless.
A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Jared Bressler, Havox, Speed Saber, Curtis Loban, Judah Herrera, Just a Guy, Miss L.W. Hernandez, Jason Martin, Zach Rosen, Jerry Sladek, Ray Perez, Jay, Donald Williams, Day of Light, John M, Godman Gaming, Markithian Tidwell, Adrian, Kumo, T. Bush, JV, Thomas, Christ, Joshua Cousins, Jose Hernandez, Khalid, Christian Deshazer, Divine C. Harris, Montyboy98, Ruben, Yuki Iki, Gray, Isaac, Koala King 93, Quilly Buckner, Alver, Darius King, Normal Defate, Vicente Baharias, Joshua Andrade, L, Gary Miles, Dragon Spawn 666, J. Rule, Nate, Leiron Sangkap, Lucas Guet, Jason Martin, Christopher Mash, Charles Bailey, Sky T, Diego Ginoza, Andre Hamilton, Martin Ramos, Guy Ensley, Simon Rode, Emperor WSA, Miko Espinosa, Gobi Lin, Pratik Bandari, Faiz Mansour, Jackson Early, Smexy, Carl Stephen Bernadel, Gareth Hashimoto, Steven Madison, Vasto Lord, Marl Barsha, Ralph Ignacio, Efrain Hernandez, William Locke, Kamal Luke, Jahid Hassan Lipu, Spencer Candila, Ian Sikibiol, Thanacorn Lee Sawat, KACP9R, The Harv, Drayden Yamauchi, Alex Buthanu, Michael Brinkley, Nathan Alexander, Mario Kanoy, Karam Faraj. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.